Hey y'all, guess what I'm on? It's the new for 2022 Harley Davidson Nightster. I got a guy in the Sportster S in front of me who does not know how to ride that bike, which is understandable. Who does? You know, on their first time out. I'm doing some demo rides here. They've got the demo truck at Ventura Harley Davidson. So I came down here, or up here, for y'all, so I could demo a couple of these bikes for the channel. This Nightster has the relatively new Revolution Max liquid cooled engine from Harley Davidson. This one in 975 cubic centimeters of displacement. It's a pretty cool engine. I just rode the Pan America for the first time. That has the 1250cc version of this same engine, and I was pretty impressed. This one is a little less powerful. It's, I believe, 67 horsepower, 70 pound-feet of torque in bone stock configuration, but it's a relatively light bike at I think 475 pounds wet. However, my first couple of pulls of this engine feel smooth, but maybe a little anemic coming off of that 1250. I'm in third gear, and 3,800 RPM, and just not a lot of pull, unfortunately. Now, I don't know, maybe it's a little deceptive given how smooth this engine is and how light this bike is. I'm not real happy with the posture in stock configuration either. I'm kind of hunched over. Well, I am hunched over much more than I would want to be on a cruiser. Of course, that can be remedied. These bars are tilted down and back. Yeah, this I'm disappointed right off the bat in this bike. It is definitely a slow-ish beginner bike. Now, for a beginner bike, it's nice and light, nice and smooth, very predictable. I will say I'm in rain mode, so maybe that's the problem. Let's remedy that. The mode button is right here by my right thumb, so I'm going to just go into street mode, which I can do on the fly. Is that better? It is better. Is it good enough? Well, let me let these guys get ahead of me and I'll tell you. Let's do a little third gear roll on. Well, you know, that is noticeably better, so shame on me for not realizing I was in rain mode. That's what they set this in for me to begin with. The problem with this bike as a beginner bike is MSRP on it is $13,500. That's a lot of money for what feels like a beginner bike. I just, you know, there sure are a lot of bikes you can get for that money that are better equipped and more powerful than this, particularly those of the Japanese variety. This is a cool bike. It's cool to see a cruiser from Harley with a liquid cooled overhead cam engine. They styled it really nicely. The tank, or what looks like the tank, is actually the airbox, but it is, you know, very much in keeping with traditional Sportster DNA. The fuel tank is actually beneath the seat. It's 3.1 gallons. So this thing has a claim to, I think, 52 miles per gallon. So even with a relatively small tank, pretty nice range. Very low seat height. This would be, you know, for a woman with shorter legs, this would be a nice first bike. I imagine, you know, reliability on this bike is better than in the days of yore and the Evos and twin cams. Well, no, I guess iron heads and Evos on the sporties. Does handle nice. I actually almost weirdly prefer the handling feel of this bike to the Pan America, which is shocking. I was disappointed in the way the Pan America turned in. This bike actually feels like it turns in relatively nicely. The foot pegs are mids, but just barely. And when I say just barely, I mean they're just barely forward. So kind of a nice, easy, neutral posture again for someone perhaps not as experienced a rider. It's got these mirrors on the bar ends, which are kind of cool. I've seen better, I've seen worse. Nothing to write home about. It's got a dual analog and digital display. It's displaying speed analog and RPMs digitally, and in the digital section there it's also showing me a gear indicator, fuel, and ride mode. Having no problem keeping up with the leader of the pack, who appears to be on some version of the Harley touring bikes. I've got a Sportster S, as I mentioned, in front of me. That guy seems like he's gotten his bearings now a little better. I mentioned this on a video long ago where I did a demo ride with a group on a BMW RT. I always wonder, like, how often people just freak out on these rides. I mean, everyone, I guess, has a motorcycle license, so there's no one who hasn't ridden. But you gotta imagine the cross-section of the public who come to these in a city or a metropolitan area as big as LA includes some freaks. I just wonder how often somebody freaks out or just steals one of these, or, you know, wipes out mid-demo, and I don't want to jinx myself with that. It's got to happen, you know it does. Let's talk, what else can we talk about? The gearbox. It's a very positive feel to the shifting. Nothing buttery smooth about it, but also not at all difficult. Turn signal indicators are on that combo analog digital display. First gear pull is kind of nice. Got to 40 in second gear relatively quick. So it's not as bad as I made it out to be when I was in rain mode. I apologize for that. Suspension is slightly on the harsh side, but in a good way. I think it's actually helping the handling abilities of this bike, because there's not any noticeable slop in the suspension. There's a nice little pull in fourth gear. All right, I'm feeling a little better about the little 975. little bit of a dust storm up here. It must be a truck in that field. Come on, fella. Oh, he's gonna wait. So I've reached the point in the video where I ask myself, would I own this bike? Absolutely not. I would not want this bike. Would I recommend this bike for a beginner? Probably not, because it's expensive. And I imagine it's expensive to repair if you drop it. Now, is it a capable, light touring bike? Yeah, absolutely. And I'm impressed so far with the wind deflection that this little sport fairing is providing. Relatively quiet. I hope you can hear that in my mic. Got some wind hitting me in the chest, but not horrible, and you know, not a lot hitting me in the face, which is always a plus. I do want to ride that Sportster S, which has the 1250 version of this engine in it, and I suspect would be a lot more fun to ride than this. All that said, decent looking bike, capable, expensive, lots of choices would lead me in another direction. I'm gonna leave it there for y'all. I thank you for coming along for the ride. If you have not already subscribed and you enjoyed this video, I hope you will consider subscribing so you can see more, and maybe hit that like button too. I hope you're having a great day, and I will see you next time. Thanks a lot. Bye.